I can't wait for y'all to see what's in here. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mabel. This is Mabel Journals. And in today's video, as the title suggests, we're actually going to go over my 2026 reading journal. I'm a little self-conscious about it, just a little bit, because I've done some very, very different things to her. It's only been 3 months and it's about to be 4, and I mean, there's a lot of damage that's been done. This has a lot to do with the theme that I picked for this year, which was scrapbooking, junk journaling type of vibe. And so obviously, since I'm adding pages, I'm adding stuff into here, it definitely took a toll on that. But I'm very proud of her. I'm very happy. And I can't wait for y'all to see what's in here. I wanted to do kind of like a scrapbook theme, like I mentioned. So I felt like this journal kind of encompassed that a little bit. This is an Archer and Olive B5 notebook, and I've had it for a really long time. I don't know if they still have it on the website. I actually got this one through a subscription box. They have like quarterly subscription boxes where they give you like 2 full-size notebooks. And this was one of them. And I think that when I saw how big and beautiful the B5 was, which was with this one, that's when I kind of switched over to the B5. I was more of like a square 8x8 girl, and then I switched to B5 because I think I saw this one. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I never really knew what I wanted to do with her quite yet, and I wanted to take my time. And so when I was thinking about themes that I wanted to do this year, I was thought the one journal that came up in mind was this one. And I was like, this one is perfect, because a lot of the journals that I have are very have a lot of like intricate designs and stuff like that. But this one's more just like a cottagecore type theme. And I felt like, I don't know, I felt like it was gonna feel right. And so far I've been right. Another thing is my journal from 2025, I felt like if I didn't have this cover on it, that she was gonna get dirty, that something was gonna happen. And so that's kind of like why this one I was a little more delicate with. But this new one from 2026, I feel like I can do anything and she'll be fine, you know? So I'm very thankful that I kind of just like switched it up a little bit this year. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the journal, and yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so here is my reading journal for 2026. This is an Archer and Olive journal. As you're very well aware, I basically only use Archer and Olive for my reading journals. I'm not sure exactly when I purchased this, but I know it was part of a subscription box, and I've had it for a really, really long time. I had been doing dark academia, light academia, very plain covers. And so this one I wanted to save for when I was doing like a cottagecore type of theme or something like that. And when I figured out, hey, I really want to do scrapbooking, this really came up in mind. I've been into junk journaling for some time, and this just really spoke to me. So you can kind of see that it has taken, oops, there's a marker in there for some reason. Take that out of there. You can see that this has grown significantly. This is only about maybe 3 months, a little less than 3 months, because I still have to do a few spreads to finish up March. But yeah, she's pretty big. And once I noticed that it was getting kind of a little thick like this, I had been trying to sort of minimize the amount of sheets and paper just so that it lasts me a little bit longer. I'm okay with this lasting me 6 months and then moving on to another journal for the remaining 6 months. But I want to try to use this one as much as possible, because right now I have each of my reading journals are one for each year, and I'd like to keep it that way. Anyways, like I said, this is an Archer and Olive. I'm not really sure if you can still get this on the website. I'll put it in the description if you can, if I have the information on that. This is a B5 dot grid notebook, and let's open her up. I decided to change the name page a little bit just because I wanted it to be a little bit more standout. And this is my reading journal cover page. I wanted it to be very fun, very scrapbooky, but also have like some reading journal like little snippets in there. So I loved how this came out. It really sets the mood for me. Like I mentioned in my 2025 reading journal, having something like this really sets the mood for me. It helps me kind of just like focus on what the theme is, focus on what types of fonts to use. I use a lot of this in the rest of my spreads, so it really brings everything together nicely. Because I started my junk journal recently, I had similar formats to the first page, so I figured it makes sense to have this have the same kind of like beginning as well. Oops. So on the left-hand side, this is my rating system. Like I said, I try to keep it as simple as possible because if it's any more complicated than this, it's a lot harder for me to make a decision on what rates to do. And then on the right-hand side, these are all of my reading goals. I'll quickly go over them. The first is I want to read one book a week. So my goal for the whole year, I'll be happy if I read at least 52 books this year. And last year was 42, so that's about 10 books more. Second, I want to review every single book I read. And I know this sounds weird because I obviously have a reading journal, so I definitely will review it. But what I mean is on Goodreads or anything online, I want to be able to have something where I can turn back to digitally and see that I also read it. I think that that also has a way of reaching audiences and reaching, you know, other people that are looking to read this book and want to understand a little bit more. I like having the idea. I like the idea of having something out there that I've left a review for and something I can turn back to easily when I'm like reviewing other books. Like, hey, what did I think of the first one again? And it's all already, you know, all together somewhere digitally. So that's one of my goals. The third goal is I really want to prioritize my physical TBR. I have not shown you my physical TBR because it is such a crazy amount of books that I have not yet read. And maybe one day I'll get to it, I promise. But at this point, it's just very, very large amount. And I'd like to kind of minimize that on my own for a bit, or at least organize the books that I have not yet read before I bring you guys into that. Fourth, I want to keep up with my reading journal. This one is so important to me because I obviously spend so much time on organizing this journal, and sometimes I have like 2 or 3 months where I haven't had a chance to update it, and so it overwhelms me and I end up kind of just like doing things quickly and getting it out of the way, and it's no fun. So being up to date and making sure that I spend, you know, the designated routine time on my journal really makes a huge difference. And if I'm reading one book a week, that gives me enough time to have everything in there. I say that, and then now I have 3 books that I'm kind of behind. I haven't done spreads for and I haven't updated, but that's okay because I plan to get that done as soon as possible. And then the last one, I think this is the hardest one for me. DNF any book that I'm not enjoying 50 to 100 pages in. I wanted to be super specific with this goal because I always put DNF books if you don't like it, DNF books if you don't like it. And I really feel like it's so hard to decide when you don't like it. Based on the time that I have and the experience I have reading, I know that if I don't enjoy a book 50 to 100 pages in, there's a very, very high chance I will not enjoy the full book. So I'm going to take that chance and DNF it so that I can spend more time reading books that I actually do enjoy. And for my rating system, I'm not going to go over it because it's pretty self-explanatory. I think the most important for me is knowing the difference between 3, 4, and 5 stars. This is usually where it gets a little bit messy for me. I know when I don't enjoy something and I know when something's terrible, but like when it comes to like whether or not it should be a 3, 4, and 5 star, the way that I like to think about it is 3, it's a good read. It's a solid read. Someone will like this book. 4, it's a great read. A lot of people will enjoy this if I recommend it, but it wasn't super memorable in the way that a 5 star would be, because a 5 star is something that I would reread again. A 5 star is something that if someone asked me what book I'm enjoying, I would automatically not only tell them this book, but take the time to really explain what it is. And I got lost in this book to the point where I wish I could reread it and not, like, I wish I could erase my memory and reread it again. Or I don't even have to erase my memory. I can still reread it again. Like, that's just how good of a book that it is. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, I'm sticking with that like theme of scrapbooking on both of these spreads. Next, this one has been a lot easier this year to keep track of. This is the books I've received. So this is from publishers, authors, different types of, you know, bookstores sometimes send me things as well. I'm trying to keep track of what those are so that I can make sure to have a review or to at least showcase them in some way. And then this one is the books that I've purchased. Most of the time I do this because I want to make sure I have the full series, or I want to see how often I'm writing something down here. I've just recently realized that Marshall's has really good books, like a really good book section, and I hope they continue to do that because I love Marshall's, and I've just purchased some stuff there. So for example, if I go to like a store and I'm like, should I get a book here? I remember when I wrote something here and I'm like, I probably shouldn't, because I don't really have that much space left for the rest of the year either. So this spread is one of the spreads that I really thought through so much. What's so hard about 26 books to read in 2026 for someone who has lowered their reading goal to 52 books is that that's basically half of the books in the year. And of course I'm gonna read 52 books, so it shouldn't matter, right? But at the same time, I feel like that's just such a large amount. I also wanted to keep the number the same every single year. So I decided to do 12 books in 2026. I thought that this was something clever that I came up with, but I had been watching other reading journal like flip throughs and tours and setups, and I've noticed a lot of people have decided to do this because that number at the end of the year that we're in is growing more and more and more, and it's becoming a lot harder to work on. I also noticed a lot of people do like the last number. So instead of 2026, they do 6. But I felt like that number was too low. So I decided to do 12. And I think I'm just going to keep 12 every single year, because that just guarantees that I at least have one book that I can read every month. So far, I've done really, really well. I've read 1, 2, 3, 4 books that are on this list. And I've tried to do fantasy, romance, a little thriller, and some other things in here. And I'm really excited about this list. I think that this is just, like, it's not all my favorite books, but they are books that, like, for example, Cara Bastone, I want to really get into this author because I haven't had a chance to. And then R.F. Kuang is one of my favorite authors, and I haven't even read her latest release, and she's going to have another release. So I really wanted to get to that one. I've heard a lot of things about the favorites, so I really want to get to this one. I love this series, and so I want to make sure that I'm up to date on this series as well. And then Project Hail Mary, I don't even have to say anything about that because you already know. There's just so many books here that I'm so excited. Like, if I had this pile of books in front of me right now, I'd be set. So that's how I know I did a good job of selecting the books here, and how I feel a lot more proud to get to it. 12 is also a more reasonable number. Like, I know I can finish this. Next, I know I said my goal was 52 books, but 52 books isn't really, it doesn't look as cute. So I did 60. And I have been highlighting every single book I finish. I think I might have 20. I don't know if I'm up to date with this. I forget. I have to update my reading journal. But I definitely wanted the squares to be this size, and so I ended up with 72. I think I can get at least to 60 this year because like I said, I'm already like, I think that's 30% the way through. So 33.3% through. So I think I can definitely get to it. But this basically means I'm going to highlight every single little box to represent every book that I'm reading, that I've finished. These are my monthly statistics. I basically kept this exactly the same. I want to keep track of the pages I've read, the average rating, the genres, and the books. I know I mentioned in my 2025 journal that I wanted to have one spread, or at least include in this spread the totals, but I didn't get to it, and I didn't think of it until I was flipping through my 2025 with you guys earlier, so I obviously didn't get to it. So maybe that's something I will work on for next year, or maybe I can pop in a page in here and just have that like a nice little spread for it. We'll see what I end up doing. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more months to figure that out. This is my bookshelfy page. I have kept this a lot more smaller than in years past. If you saw my 2025 reading journal, you know that I had probably the same amount, like this is exactly what it looks like with more books, of course. So I wanted to make sure that this was something I can fill in. If I need more space, I can just pop in a page in here and have it be like, you know, more books just in the bookshelfy. But I wanted to keep it small because I wanted to at least be able to finish this and have more rather than have this lack. at the end of the year. So this is basically where I'm at. I actually ended up drawing in the books this year. Usually I use a stamp. If you've seen my setup video for 2025 or 2024, then you know that I use a stamp, and I really love doing that. But this one, I wanted to make sure I had a little bit more flexibility with the amount of books. And we're stepping into the first month of January. I'm only going to go as far as January just to show you what my new like my new pattern is for each month. Usually I have like a calendar and I have a rating system and all those different things, but this year I decided I wanted to make it as simple as possible for myself. So instead of that, I decided to do a little library card at the beginning of every month. And in the library card, I not only write down the book, but I also write down the date that I finished it. And so that way it's a little bit easier to keep track of what I have going on. And it's also like, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It's just like a fun little note that I have for myself. And then I just pop it right in there. These are the books that I had on my TBR. I try to have at least 6 books ready. So I'll have 6 books that I really want to get to in that month. And instead of pasting them on here or because they're stickers that I print out, I just cut them out and I put them in this little pocket so that if once I finish reading it, I can stick it. I don't want to stick it before I read it because I am a mood reader, and if I have a book there, I'm going to read it, and I probably won't enjoy it because I'll feel forced to read it. So I decided instead of sticking it, I'm going to put them in this little pocket and make sure that I put it out once I get there. I also have like the ratings here so you can kind of see. It's just a little sticker that I got. And like I mentioned, these were the 6 books that I had on my TBR. Once I finished those, I also got to a 7th book. So I put additional reads here because this book wasn't necessarily in the books that I was planning on reading, but it ended up here anyway. I decided to do away with this for the remaining of the months because really no point in doing that. I think the main reason why I did it here is because there was so much free space and I wanted to fill this in with something other than stickers. So I think that it works for January, but I'm not going to do that in the future, or I haven't done it in the future. So the first book I read is Problematic Summer, and this is basically like a cute little junk journal spread of that read. I'm trying to get the vibes in, I'm trying to get the color palette in, I'm trying to get like the feeling of having read this book into this page. I have this little small section here. I think this is different from what I've done in the past. I feel like when I'm recommending a book, sometimes I just want to jump right into what it's about, but in reality, sometimes people just want to know like what they can expect and not necessarily what's actually happening. So I like to kind of like think, hey, what are the tropes? What's the setting? Like what's going on here other than a summary about the book? Something that can kind of be like a summary, but it's a little quicker to get to and it doesn't give anything away. So I put the start date and the finish date, and then I put, you know, this Problematic Summer Romance is an age gap romance. It's a companion novel to a different book. It's set in Sicily, a wedding's taking place, women in STEM, there's a dual timeline. I think all of those things are so important to talk about in this book, and that way I don't have to give away like a lot of the core stuff. I also did this because I feel like for me, I like to remember the books in this way because I can kind of categorize them in my head like where they fit. So for me, that works. And then obviously I have the rating down here as well. So I did enjoy this one. I think this was more like a vibe book than it was a book for me to enjoy necessarily like a 4-star or something like that. I think the vibes were there. I think the writing was there. I think the characters were cool, but the actual story didn't click for me. But other than that, it was pretty good. I'm not going to talk about the books. I already have a video where I'm talking about all of the books a little bit more in detail. So here I'll probably just, you know, go through it and talk about the spread specifically. This is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Kind of messy, kind of all over the place. This is where I kind of realized, hey, I need to have a system of some sort because this is kind of crazy. So I kind of like it either way because I feel like it fits with the book, but like moving forward, I tried to be a little bit more organized. This is my favorite spread so far this year. I had so much fun making this. I was able to get a special edition of Good Spirits by BK Borison from a indie library, and they also sent me like a bunch of little knickknacks with it, so it was super fun. These are the postcards that it came with. It came with an additional postcard too, but it didn't fit, and it has the characters. So this is Nolan, and then this is Harriet, and it's just super cute. It also came with this sticker which says I'm just a holiday romance girl, so I wanted to include it in there as well. And I was able to put a little summary here. I still do have the checklist of like, this is a grumpy sunshine, fantasy elements, paranormal romance, holiday romance, you know, Christmas carol coded, basically magical realism. I still have that listed here. It just doesn't have its own little box, but I think it's super important for myself to have something like that on there. But I had such a good time making this spread. There's so much on it, but like, I just feel like it's so well organized, and to be honest, it's probably my favorite. And I don't know if I'm gonna top this year, not gonna lie. This is Spiral. I wanted to do something that kind of looked like a museum type of situation. She's a black ballerina. He's a hockey player, Swan Lake, all of that fun stuff. And I wanted something like bright as well. This is another one. This is the Gingerbread Bakery, where I feel like I had too much going on. I had so many things that fit in this category, but then I also wanted to do some prints of some things that I thought of that I really wanted to showcase in this spread. So it ended up being a little crazy, but I still love it. And this is the Academy. I wanted it to have like a very like luxe, like school theme. So this felt very boarding school themed, very like rich people coded type of thing. So I really like how this came out as well. And then We Who Will Die. This is the last book I read in the month of January. I really loved this book. I really loved this spread. I felt like this gold border fit really well with the gold on the coin. And then vampires. So I tried to get like these like creepy little stickers I had, along with these like vinyl stickers I got from Archer and Olive. I just felt like it all fit together pretty well. So that is where I'm going to stop, and I will have a video for my February and March and perhaps even April at some point. Just stay tuned for that. I also will have like little shorts where I kind of just flip through it without any explanation, in case you just want to see it and don't want to hear me talk. So that's just something to look forward to. But this is the end of that. So that is the end of my 2026 reading journal. I'm so excited to continue filling her in. I will be doing videos on the other months that I didn't get to, like February and March, along with maybe a setup video for April. Let me know what you're interested in seeing, and I'll do my best. I will do my best. All right, so that concludes this video. If you stayed till the very, very end, what can you put in the comments? Put this fruit emoji so that I know you stayed till the very end. And as always, I appreciate you so much. I hope I can continue to be as active as possible on YouTube. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you all on the next one.